What up?
Friday night.
What
It's
up?
May. This is our last month. I'm just getting right into announcements. This is our last month of Dino 101s. This is the last four? Yeah. 3 more after this.
Mhm.
And then we all graduate and we go on to do amazing things after that. Christina, how are you?
I am, it's a bittersweet piece of news, right? It's Vaxxed Girl Summer. So we're
Yes.
getting out into the world.
Mhm.
Friday night on Zoom. I don't know, but I love this and I love y'all. So
Facts.
it's gonna be a good night.
Maybe there's 1 or 2 of you here that have not been here before, but we start at 3 minutes after the hour, always in earnest. In these first 2 minutes, we would love to know in the chat what you are drinking and where you are drinking it. I am randomly in Austin, Texas right now, and I am drinking a Modelo.
Ooh,
Seemed appropriate. And it was in the fridge, so.
the most appropriate. I am in Brooklyn with a High Noon vodka and soda black cherry.
Ooh, classy. Very classy.
Yeah.
Ooh, you got some Kentucky bourbon in Michigan. All right, someone drinking bourbon in the Midwest. Man after my own heart.
Easy bird, birds are dinos. Take a sip.
We'll get there. We'll get there. You're already telling everyone the drinking rules. We haven't even started yet. Love it.
Ooh,
We
a
got some Toronto
Radler.
fans. Fam, nice. Oh, here comes Keisha, another person from Canada. A lot of America's hat represented tonight. Like that.
Oh, Jada. Jada had her second dose of the Fauci ouchie. Enjoy your Chipotle to the best of your ability.
Yeah, Jada, we're glad you're here, even though you're on Fauci ouchie number deuce. Deuce? That's weird.
Sure.
All right, it's time. I think wait, Christine, it's 9:03 where you are, right?
Yeah.
That just reminded me how when someone's like, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, that's not true. It's never 5 o'clock. It's not always 5 o'clock somewhere. It's like 5:13 somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what we're here to talk about. It's Friday night. It's time for Dino 101. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Sincerely, thank you for coming. If this is your first time here, I would advise that you buckle the fuck up. Secondly, if this is not your first time here, you already know what you're in for. Welcome back, you fucking weirdos. I'm so glad you were here. I mentioned it before. I'm going to mention it again. This month, May, this is going to be our last month of Dino 101. I was going to say single tier, but like all the tiers. We've been doing this for over a year. People are getting vaxxed. It's getting warm outside. We all have Zoom fatigue. So we want to end this strong. So May is going to be our last month. Today, we're doing a Dinosaur World Tour. Next week, we're doing DILFs, which of course are dinosaurs I'd like to find, like speculative, non-yet existing, at least in our imaginations. And then we're going to do Dinosaur Prom. And then last but not least, a Dinosaur Final Exam. So this month, I'm going to be sad. It's going to be bittersweet, but it's going to be great. So I'm glad you guys are here. Tonight, we have paleontologist Dean Lomax to take us through some of the most amazing fossils ever uncovered, as depicted in his book, Locked in Time, Animal Behavior, Unearthed 50 Extraordinary Fossils. But first, we have some very important drinking rules to go over. And to do that, I'm going to throw it to my co-hostess with the mostest, the guac to my chips, the one who's, you know what, you're fully out of your cave and you're doing better than fine at this point. I got to think of a new way to introduce you, Christina Gustovich.
Yeah, relatively thriving. Yes, it's it's bittersweet news, but it's not goodbye. It's see you in real life, you freaks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, welcome back. I see some first timers already in the chat. Hell yeah. I know it's not your first time using Zoom, but in case it's your first time at Dino 101, we are recording tonight, right, Dustin? You click the button.
Yeah, I had to hit automatic because I always forget. So yes, we're recording.
Good. So if you don't want your face to be part of that, you can stop your video down at the bottom bar. Also, come down to the bottom bar and check out the chat. We love to see your reactions and your questions there. If we don't get to them right away, we'll get to them certainly during Q&A time. So send me questions as we go and I'll funnel them to our guest Bert. And it's time for the fun rules. So everything tonight is just as interactive as you would like it to be. This is for the grown-ups. Send the kids to bed because if you are drinking tonight, here are the rules. If you hear anything about a bird, because birds are dinos, you'll take a drink. If you hear or see a groany dad joke, you'll take a drink. And it counts if somebody puts one in the chat. Finally, tonight, on our Dinosaur World Tour, buckle up, because anytime you hear the name of a country, you will take a sip.
per usual, pace yourselves.
Have
Pace
water
yourselves.
on hand.
Have what, whatever. I'll just take one to
It's
get
a
us
good
started.
idea.
All right, friends, you've been here before. You know that we always have a dinosaur of the day. Should you choose to, we ask that you render it digitally, ink and paper, needle stitching, whatever you want. You are going to render your dino of the day. And at the end of our time together, we'll go around the room. We're going to share them all out. Today's dino of the day, because our guest is from the UK, it is a British dinosaur. It is Sarcosaurus, not Sarcosuchus. This is a crocodilian. Sarcosaurus, which is a dinosaur. It's an early basal theropod from about almost 200 million years ago. And its name means flesh lizard, which is just a filthy name.
That's what they called me in college.
Wow. Okay. But you're not just depicting Sarcosaurus. You are depicting Sarcosaurus at an iconic travel destination. We're going on a world tour of dinos today. So you need to depict your Sarcosaurus. You can be with them if you want, or her. But it needs to be at an iconic travel destination somewhere in the world. That is your dino of the day from the UK. Also from the UK, tuning in at literally 2 a.m. local time, Sir Dr. Dean Lomax. Thank you for joining us. How much coffee have you drank?
I'm shaking right now. I've been drinking alcohol as well as drinking caffeine, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, I don't know whether I should be awake or asleep.
That's kind of a fair vibe for us here. I noticed Carolyn is here from Scotland, so you're not the only person tuning in.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's good. So, yeah.
All right. So before we get into you, what you do in your book, we have to, per usual, put you through the ringer to play everyone's favorite game, which is Dino or Not a Dino. I will say, Dean, usually we play this game with people that aren't actually paleontologists. So I'm excited to see how well a real dinosaur scientist does. Are you nervous at all?
Yeah, that puts me under a bit of pressure, I got to admit. That's
fair. But keep in mind, no one has ever lost, ever.
I mean, that doesn't help.
Actually, you're right. That makes it possibly worse.
You're making this really hard.
Okay, here's how this is going to work. There are 10 different animal names I'm going to read you, some of which are actual real dinosaurs, some of which we have totally made up. Your job, discern the real dinosaurs from the fake. If you need help for some reason, the chat is usually as good as chance as helping you out or not. You know, it's up to you. If you need a spelling, I'm happy to spell any of these. Also, there is a theme for the not dinosaurs. If you can figure out what that is, you're a god among men. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Animal number 1, Archaeoburnleyornis. Archaeoburnleyornis.
Burnleyornis. Isn't Burnley a city in the UK? I'm going to go with no on this one.
That is correct. You're off to a great start. You're 1 for 1. Animal number 2, Megalosaurus.
Oh, you know, actually, I have a Megalosaurus jaw in the cabinet behind me. Like, legit, I do. I need to get that out. Like, seriously, that would be a missed opportunity. I'm going to say that, yeah, let's go with that.
Okay, so you're going with real dinosaurs.
I'm going with real. Yeah, Megalosaurus real.
Okay, 2 for 2. Great start. Number 3, Evertonodon. Evertonodon.
I'm going to say no.
That is correct. That is not a dinosaur. I may have made these too easy. You are 3 for 3. Animal number 4. I'm not even sure how to pronounce this. Maybe you can help. I've also already given it away. Dacentrurus.
Absolutely, yeah. Dacentrurus is a type of stegosaur from the UK. That's real.
That is real. You were 4 for 4. Thank you for telling me I pronounced that correctly. Next, Swanseacephaly.
Swanseacephaly. That would be a Welsh dinosaur that's made up.
Yes, true. You're 5 for 5. Christina, has anyone ever gotten 10 out of 10?
Yes. Oh, wait, a dinosaur got 10 out of 10.
Oh, that's right. The only entity to ever get 10 out of 10 was Sue the T-Rex, which is a dinosaur.
So the only being to ever get 10 out of 10 on Dino Not Dino was an actual dino themselves. So
I kind of feel like that's an unfair advantage, though, right? That's they're close cousins.
Because they actually knew them, like they.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You are 5 for 5. You're halfway there, though.
Halfway.
Animal number 6, Pelorosaurus. Pelorosaurus. Pelorosaurus.
Yeah, that's real. Pelorosaurus. Another dinosaur from the UK.
Wow, 6 for 6. He may have figured out the theme for the dinosaurs too. I'll just tell you right now, the real dinosaurs are all from the UK. Next, Valdosaurus. Is that a dinosaur? Valdosaurus.
That is indeed a dinosaur as well. From the Isle of Wight, from the Cretaceous, roughly about 125 130 million years ago. Major dino geek here, especially British dinosaurs. I thought you made this a lot harder.
I should have. I don't know how it would have made it. All right, I'm gonna keep going. Proto-Fulham Venator. Proto-Fulham Venator.
That definitely ought to be a real dinosaur, but it's not.
That is not. That's correct. Next, Scelidosaurus or Shelidosaurus.
This is Scelidosaurus. That's
Okay.
the pronunciation. Yes, so that's an early Jurassic armored dinosaur relative of the likes of Stegosaurus and Ankylosaurus, found in Dorset, the only place in the world.
I feel like you could have written this entire part. Okay. You know what? You are now 9 for 9. Last but not least, this one is the toughest one.
Come on, don't mess this
I
up.
pronounce this correctly. Manchesterops unicus FC.
You know, I might go. No, it's not real. No, it isn't. Can't be real.
That is not real. What is the so all the real dinosaurs were from the UK. What was the theme for the non-dinosaurs, Dean?
All Premier League soccer teams, football teams, which is pretty cool.
I love that you just went ahead and started to describe each one, because normally I have to show people these to prove that yes, these 5 were actual real dinosaurs. But you already told us all about them, so I love it. And these are all from the UK, correct?
That is correct. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, this was so weird.
Yeah, Scelidosaurus is a really neat animal.
Say it again.
Scelidosaurus is a really neat animal. It's one of my favorites from the British Isles.
Why?
Just because of it was the first complete dinosaur skeleton found anywhere in the world. This was found in the 1860s, if I remember rightly. And Sir Richard Owen, the guy who named the word dinosaur, he described Scelidosaurus, and it was a remarkable discovery.
I see a question in the chat since we're on it. Do you have a favorite football club? No, Dean, do you have a favorite football club?
Oh, sorry. I was busy drinking there. I do. Yeah, I'm a Liverpool fan.
Okay.
Yeah, so definitely the Manchester United dinosaur is, that's definitely not a dinosaur. That can get the hell away out of me.
Okay. So we have a couple of polls here because we're doing a world tour today. And before we get into the world tour, we forgot to do this earlier. We usually do like attendance, but I'm really curious to know like where everyone is tuning in from. East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, South, Plains, Mountain West, America's Hat, which is Canada, the UK, somewhere else in the world, or obviously we're all in a simulation. Where exactly are you in the UK right now, Dean?
I'm in Wilmslow, which is actually, funnily enough, just outside of Manchester.
Okay, cool. And it looks like, I'm going to share these results. We got, wow, great voter turnout. 96% of the vote is in. Most people are on the East Coast. 5 people are tuning in from the simulation. I appreciate that.
Wow, thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you. I know you could have been literally anywhere in any simulation. You're here with us tonight. I have one more poll before we get into it, Dean. Because we are doing a tour, and Christina let me know that tour sounds a lot like tour. Christina, do you want to set this poll up? Because I just butchered it already.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we're going on a world tour. So we want to know which of these is your favorite tour. Is it the Eiffel Tour,
Go ahead.
the Tour of Babel, the Sears Tour, the Leaning Tour of Pisa, the Tour of London, the Tour of Terror, Tour of Power, or some other really cool and totally random tour Dustin and I didn't even think of.
Dean, this gives you a taste of how dumb we try to make these polls.
I mean, this is right up my street. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Do you have a favorite of these different tours?
Of all of these, I'd probably have to go. I got to stay with the UK, unfortunately, and go to the Tower of London.
Okay.
That's a good tour.
Yeah, it is.
We had a much less voter turnout for that one. People didn't like that poll. People did not like that poll.
Oh, I think it's just the votes back to back. You know, people probably got up to refill their drink or.
It's true. It's like people don't vote as much in like the primaries or the special elections. They vote in. All right. Enough messing around. Dean, we're here to talk dinosaurs. So first of all, I was going to ask you, like, how do you want to be introduced? Because like we know each other via Twitter, and I know you're a paleontologist and you have this book we're about to talk about. But if we were on like the BBC, how do they introduce you?
Usually it's something like, well, here we have Dr. Dean Lomax from the University of Manchester, who's going to be, that's pretty much how it usually goes down.
I wasn't going to make fun of British accents, but you already did it. So now.
I enjoy doing accents. It's all good.
Can you do an American accent?
Excuse me. Yeah, no, I'm pretty good at doing different types of accents. And one of the really cool things, this is the Jack Daniels and Coke talking here, but I kind of like doing voices as well. And I do a really good, Smeagol from the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, please.
I might do this. We'll see how we get on with the rest of the program, but come back to that, and I will do it. I promise.
Okay, so let's go back to your book. So this book just came out, Locked in Time, Animal Behavior Unearthed in 50 Extraordinary Fossils. I know we have a couple people literally in the chat right now that are already in their own mini book clubs talking about it. So nice. We're going to talk about 7 of the entries from that book. But I'm curious, this is not the first book you've written. So no. I'm curious to know how you arrived on this particular angle to write this book.
Yeah, really, really good question. So with this one, excuse me, with this one, I went to the so I've been getting over a cold, so my throat's been a bit of annoyance, so bear with me with that. Okay, so when I was 18, I went out to I sold my childhood Star Wars collection of action figures, big time. I can see people now. I can see your face. You're like, what? Cut this guy right off. I sold my childhood Star Wars collection of action figures to fund a trip to go out to Wyoming when I was 18 to work with the museum, the Wyoming Dinosaur Center. And that was to gain firsthand experience in a professional museum, working with paleontologists for the first time. This trip was for about 4 months. And on my very first day, I was given a tour of the museum, and I came across this really epic fossil, which we'll talk about a little bit in a short while. And this fossil just blew my mind. You could instantly, by studying this specimen, you could learn so much more than it wasn't just a simple fossil. There was behavior captured with this fossil of, it's 150 million years old. It's from the Jurassic. And I was just blown away. I'd never seen or heard of any fossils like this before. And that initially gave me the idea for this book. And so in the background, as my career started to progress over the years, and I began writing scientific papers, funnily enough, few years later in 2011, I actually published that particular fossil, and that then led on to more research on fossils with behavior, more research on things like ichthyosaurs, which again we'll talk a little bit about later. And it really did set me kind of on the path to becoming a paleontologist, which my route into paleontology was really, really unusual. Initially I never went to university. I forego doing an undergraduate degree. I never went to uni and did an undergrad. So I ended up, because of my research, I ended up doing what's called over here in the UK, a thing called an MPhil. So it's a master's. And then I progressed into doing a PhD.
Oh, wow. Nice. There's so many different roads and paths people take to end up doing amazing science. Would love to hear that. All right. So we're going to highlight 7. We don't have a ton of time, so we're going to spend a minute or so on each. But we had to, at least I wanted to start with the fossil that's literally the cover of your book with this tremendous art by Bob Nichols. We've talked about this, it's literally called the Fighting Dinosaurs fossil. We've talked about that on Dino 101 before. So why did you choose this one to be the cover of the book?
Yeah, this is truly an epic fossil. So this specimen comes from Mongolia. So that's your cue to drink, right? I got it?
Thank you for reminding me.
Yes, I remember. So I'll take a drink with that too. This cool specimen was without a doubt one of the most famous dinosaur fossils of all time. It was found during an expedition in the Gobi Desert by a Polish Mongolian team. And when it was discovered, it was immediately clear that there was 2 dinosaurs that are very, very different that were found together in what appeared to look like that they were literally fighting. And as the research went on through studying this specimen, it still is to this day the only definite specimen of a pair of fighting dinosaurs. Now, literally, you've got this velociraptor. I mean, it is a cool thing just to have a velociraptor, but you've got it literally fighting with a protoceratops. The protoceratops has got its really strong, tough beak on the arm of the velociraptor. We're literally breaking just below the elbow, just breaking the arm, whilst the velociraptor's infamous killing claw is up high in the neck of the protoceratops. It's such an epic fossil. The idea in terms of how this was preserved is that potentially after the fight, they were covered during a sand dune. A sand dune had collapsed above the pair, perhaps due to a thunderstorm, triggering heavy rains, and therefore the sand covered them and buried them completely. And it's today it's considered a national treasure of Mongolia, and it is by far one of the greatest ever fossils to be found. And there it is on the cover of the book. in my hand. So there you go. You get to see the full cover.
No arguments here. People in the chat are like, that is a beautiful fossil. It is.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, these are two different species fighting. Now we're moving on to two of the same species, but not dinosaurs fighting. I also noticed you're wearing this shirt. I had not heard of this fossil. What's the deal with the fighting mammoths? This is Nebraska, right?
Yeah, this specimen was such a cool specimen. Not so many people are aware of this, and to be honest, I'd hold my hands up as well. That it was a specimen that was discovered in 1962, quite by chance, when the team from the University of Nebraska were collecting it. They found practically two complete skeletons of two bull Columbian mammoths together, locked together. You imagine, if I use my hands here, and you imagine that this is their tusks, right? They're literally locked together like this. And the intriguing thing is that the one mammoth has the left tusk is complete and the right tusk is broken. And the other mammoth has the right complete tusk and the left tusk is broken. So through that, they lock together. And you imagine you can compare it to, say, deer in the rutting season, where they're clashing heads due to, they want to mate, right? They're full of testosterone, they're horny as hell. These giant Columbian mammoths are pumped full of testosterone. They're in the midst of this fight, but then they don't want to give up. And you'll have seen pictures or viral videos of deer where they get their heads stuck. The same thing happened with these mammoths. And then they've died together. And then it was discovered in 1962. That's an amazing fossil.
I also really appreciate that I was like, where would you go if you go anywhere? And you're like, Nebraska, which is not an answer I was expecting to hear from you. No one's like, I want to go to Nebraska.
I want to go to Nebraska.
Are there so why did you remind me again, why did you choose Nebraska? I was like, if you go back anywhere for a month, you're like, Nebraska, why?
Yeah, big time. So not only just to see this specimen, there's a lot of really cool fossils that have come out of Nebraska. And some other examples I include in the book, actually, but I won't get into them. But there's so many different geological formations in Nebraska, especially of this age as well. So things in the more recent past from these mammoths, for example, are about 12,000 years old. So you've got stuff right from then up until I think it's like the Oligocene. And throughout there, you've got some really cool geological formations with exceptional preservation. So you have many of the so-called Lagerstätten, so these sites of truly exceptional preservation, often with numerous bone beds. So it's just somewhere that's always been on my bucket list, and I've never had the chance to go.
I can't help but laugh at Nebraska being on someone's bucket list. And listen, if anyone in the room is from Nebraska, I'm sorry. I've never heard that. All right. So obviously mammoths are pretty large. We're going to move on to another animal that's pretty large. I mean, the size of it is literally in its name. That is the giant ground sloth. I love all of the paleo art that Bob has made for your book. I just want to share this because a different returning champion on Dino 101, Kirsten Formosa, made this meme, which I think gives us the broad picture about sloths today and yesterday. Pretty excited about this meme.
That summarizes it very well.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, sloths used to be large and not just on, I've done lots of sloth presentations, so I threw some in here. Yeah, they used to be large and not necessarily in the tree and on the ground, and they came in all different sizes and varieties. But we are here to talk specifically about, well, it's not necessarily the sloth fossil itself, but I guess the trace fossils left by the sloth. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say. Yeah, so we go down to South America here, and we go to Brazil and Argentina. So get drinking, and here I guess you get 2 drinks for that, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if we've ever had a guestpert who's been so beholden to keeping us on task with respect to drinking. I love it.
get you all drunk by the end of this, and buy the book.
They don't need to be told twice.
Right. So here we have these really awesome trackways, which I guess we term paleo burrows. The first of which were found in the 1920s and 1930s. When they were found, nobody could quite work out what they were. And it wasn't until more continued to be discovered over the years. And on the walls of many of these giant burrows, I need to point out as well that these burrows are truly gigantic. Like, they're the largest burrows ever discovered. They are up to 100 meters long. Some of them extend to 100 meters. They're at least 2 meters tall and 4 meters wide. So you could easily just walk in and out of these things. And a lot of paleontologists were just stumped by them. But it wasn't until they kind of like put 2 and 2 together, because many of these burrows actually have scratch marks along the walls that match perfectly with the claws of giant ground sloths, which, as the case will be, they actually are found in the same area. And then to kind of definitely say 100% that it was that many of these giant burrows were made by ground sloths. A couple of them have actually been found with giant ground sloth fossils preserved inside the burrows.
Dean, have you ever seen this graphic? I just love this. Okay. I love resting for a while after the strenuous work.
I read that paper. I read the paper when I was doing this book, and I was like, damn, that's awesome.
So cute. Also, we're a lot of millennials in the room, and I have to mention this. We always do. Ground sloths. We didn't have giant ground sloths to eat and pass and propagate avocados. We probably would not have avocados today.
That is.
Next time you have brunch or guacamole, thank a giant ground sloth.
Yes. You know what? I have included a line like that in the book. I'm not joking.
Good.
It is in there. I was like, thank you very much, giant ground sloths. You pooped that shit out and you planted those seeds far and wide. Thank you very much.
And I love thinking about that too, because like that means that nature was, well, ground sloths specifically, was selecting for bigger, hardier, stronger avocado pits that could survive through their intestinal tract. That's why they're so robust today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because it's what we call what's the term for it? It's an anachronism, where effectively they help to disperse the avocado, and that obviously then rapidly diversified and was spread far and wide. But these big megafauna, like the ground sloths and other animals that were swallowing them, they're all long gone. So it's funny how that works. Yeah. Not so funny for the megatheriums.
Not so much for them. Now we as humans,
that's actually very sad. But
yeah. All right, we are halfway through our world tour, which means it's time for everyone's second favorite game, Take Survivors / Opinion Dominion. I'm going to bring to the fore this week's competitors. We have obviously the co-host of the Moses, Christina. We have our special guest, Dean. We have M. Welcome, M. And of course, well, both M and Maynard, you guys are returning champions. Everyone's a returning champion here. All right, it looks like everyone is decided. Here's how this is going to work. We have 3 different rounds. There's a prompt for each round. I'm going to ask the question. Each of you are going to give us your 15-second hot take on said question. And then, sweet fair audience, it will be up to you to vote off whoever had the weakest take of the round. Not necessarily what you agree with, but you think whoever you think didn't bring it, weakest take, it's got to go. That's why it's called Take Survivor. Here we go. We're going to go first round. The order is going to be Dean, Christina, M, and then Maynard. First question, Dean, we're starting with you. Which is the best British TV show?
The best British TV show of all time, I got to say Walking with Dinosaurs. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Why? Well, I mean, do I have to ask you why?
No.
All right. I like that. I've seen Walking with Dinosaurs. It is fucking great. That's a strong answer. You can't argue against that. Christina, what's the best British TV show of all time?
I'm going to say that's pandering, but I pandered in the same way. Yeah. The best British show of all time is the Great British Baking Show.
Yeah. I knew that.
Y'all, it's a competition, but it's so wholesome. There's no prize involved. There's no sob story like there is in American TV. They literally just love to bake. And for the nerdy parts of our brain, I've learned so much about baking. They do the method and they tell you exactly why. Fuck yeah, I love Pie Week.
Okay, Great British Bake Off, friendly and informative. M, which is the best British TV show of all time?
Also going the wholesome documentary series route with Faker Fortune, which is the show that you watch when you don't want to admit that you like Antiques Roadshow. Because it's Antiques Roadshow hero, Philip Mould, solving art crimes. It is incredible. He goes to old people's houses and looks at their art and gets them cleaned, which is not only satisfying, but cool as hell because he uses science to figure out if the art is real or not. And then he travels throughout Europe to figure out where the art is from and trace its provenance throughout history. It's wholesome as fuck and just a delight.
All right. Can I say one thing with that? Just to add in it, sorry there, just to add real quick, just one cool thing with that, I've actually worked with Philip Mould. I presented a TV show with him. Literally, he is the nicest guy. So that probably really puts a positive for you. He is honestly down to earth, really nice guy. We did a program which was called Fake or Fossil, which is very similar to the Fake or Fortune. No joke.
Well, you're selling this for M hard.
Yeah.
I don't even see anything.
My
All right,
heart is
all right.
racing right now.
I know. Maynard, wow, it's a tough act to follow. Maynard, what's the best British TV show of all time?
Yes, these are tough acts to follow. And I can't consider myself a British TV show connoisseur, but I have a show that all of you probably know and love that you probably didn't even know was a British TV show that is by far the best. 2 words, 3 syllables, Black Mirror. Black Mirror, by far the best British TV show. A whole new dystopian world. It's like the new age Twilight Zone. The best episode ever was the Metalhead episode with the robot dog that took over the world. That was Boston Dynamics before Boston Dynamics. It is the most epic show, realistic. Even the whole social media episode that broke down this world where we were ranked by our social media status. It is the best new version of Twilight Zone ever made, and by far the best British TV show. Black Mirror, y'all.
All right, strong takes out of everyone. Dean goes with Walking with Dinos. Christina goes with The Great British Bake Off. M goes with a show I had actually never heard of, but now I have to check out, Faker Fortune. And Maynard, the classic Black Mirror. Remember, friends, you're voting for who's got to go. Who's the first person to leave this round of Take Survivor? Who's got to go? Vote now. Oh boy. Oh boy. The votes are coming in. Oh no.
You know, this makes my heart race in a bad way every week.
It does. It does. This is neck and neck. Neck and neck. We've got a lot of Dino stands, seeing as how Dean, no one's voting Dean off.
Maynard, we're tied.
It is tied right now. If you have yet to vote, your vote could decide this. Who's got to go? Oh, wow. Oh boy. Oh, boy. We're going to go up to 90% of the vote in. Right now, it is neck and neck. It's literally tied. If you have not voted, your vote, listen, 7 of you have not voted. Vote now because it is a tie. We did not plan for a tie. Christina, what do we do if it's a tie?
What do we do if it's a tie? Great British Takeoff. There's like some sort of lightning round that will invent.
We have the vote. Oh, unfortunately, wow, I did not see that coming. Oh, it's a tie. It is a tie. Okay, so it's a tie between M and Christina. I'm going to make the executive decision. Christina, you're on screen all the time. We got to boot you out. I'm sorry. We're going to be friendly to M tonight.
I have to uphold my 3rd place.
Wow.
Bye.
Christina, do you have any final words before you go bye-bye for like 5 minutes till you're back?
I'm shocked and dismayed, and I'm going to just nurse this high noon till we see each other next.
Okay. All right.
Come on, everyone. All
right, Christina's gone. Round 2, here we go. In this round, we're going to go reverse order, Maynard, M, and then Dean. Your question for round 2, who, pray tell, is the best fictional scientist? Who is the best fictional scientist? Maynard, hit us.
Best fictional scientist. I have to go with the man, Doc Brown himself, Back to the Future. Who does not love Back to the Future? The man has a sports car time machine, all right? He invented time travel. It's the most classic, nostalgic movie ever made. You know, if you're watching TV and Back to the Future comes on, you are watching most iconic by far, Mr. Doc Brown. Classic.
Good hair, too. Weird and good hair.
Beautiful hair.
All right. Strong take out of Maynard M. Who's the best fictional scientist?
I had a lot of thoughts about this one, but I'm going to have to go with a hard tie between Dr. Ellie Sattler and Ellen Ripley from Alien, because they are both queer-coded female scientists, which was not only rare to see a woman scientist in the media in the 90s, but they're also not explicitly straight women, which is also rare. These are 2 people that I really latched onto as a child and made me think like, oh, hey, if I wanted to do science, I could. And I'm 100% sure they also inspired so many other women. So both of them are winners in my book.
Unprecedented and possibly illegal that you've named 2 when I asked for the single best, but it's all right. You snuck into this round. You're allowed to do whatever you want here. Dean, who is the best fictional scientist?
I wanted to make some joke here about Ross from Friends. but I can't do it. I can't include Ross from Friends. I'm sorry, Ross. Sorry, David Schwimmer. There is a paleontologist called David Schwimmer, but that's another thing. Okay, so I'm going to go with something totally random, and this just takes me right back to my childhood. I'm going to go with Professor Oak from Pokemon. You know, the guy who gave us Pikachu, gave Pikachu the special Pokemon ball to Ash Ketchum in Pallet Town. It goes right back to my childhood, and you know, I used to love researching Pokemon and stuff. So there's that connection there, and then you've got the fossil Pokemon and stuff. So that's my take on it.
All right, we have impassioned defense from each of you guys. Remember, you are voting who's got to go, who is leaving Opinion Dominion before the final round. Please vote now. Christina, now that you're out, who would you vote for?
Sandy Cheeks from SpongeBob.
Wait, what?
You asked who I would have voted for?
Oh, I'm sorry. Who are you going to rep in this round?
Oh, I was talking about my favorite fictional scientist. Yeah, Sandy Cheeks from SpongeBob.
Okay.
Yeah, she came from out of town, like many of us do, for our pursuits. She made herself a home. She's a lady in STEM, kicking ass and taking names.
Here for it.
And her name is literally a cheeky pun.
I'll drink to that. All right, I'm going to end this poll. This was our second round. It looks as though Maynard, I'm sorry. You must leave Opinion Dominion. I'm sorry. I was excited to hear about your next round, but too bad. Do you have any final words before I boot you?
It's okay. I do. I was looking in the chat, and there were some good options that were presented. Scully was a very, very, very good one. That probably would have been my next pick. So maybe if I went with Scully, I might have been victorious.
Yeah, or Scully.
All good takes.
Yep, these are great. Thank you, sir. Until next time, bye-bye. All right, here we go. We are into the final round. Take Survivor. We need to decide if we're calling it Take Survivor or Opinion Dominion, but we're just gonna say both. All right.
Me and Dustin, we're trying to avoid a lawsuit.
It's our last month. Let's make it a challenge to get sued. Get sued in your last month challenge. Okay, here we go. Okay. Last but not least, M. We're gonna go. Well, we just had Dean last, so Dean, you're gonna go first, and then M. Here's your question: which is the best summer/barbecue food? It's getting warm out. We're going to picnics. What is the go-to food item?
Ooh. Let's go for a picnic. Over here, we would definitely say a Scotch egg. Do you know what that is?
Yes, and I love that your answer for best summer food is a Scotch egg. That is the most British answer possible. But can you explain to us what a Scotch egg is?
Yeah. Scotch egg is a boiled egg, and then it's wrapped around in meat and shit, and then it's covered in breadcrumbs. It is delicious, and it's cooked. I mean, yeah, it's got to be cooked too in the oven or baked. It is delicious.
Scotch egg. Okay. Unusual answer for best summer food. M. I assume you're going to hit us with a slightly more American staple.
Maybe. I'm also maybe going to commit a food crime right now. Okay. My top hot summer pick is a brat with sauerkraut and brown mustard. I am from Cincinnati, where we have the largest Oktoberfest outside of Germany. So maybe an expected answer, but a wild food combination that I love. You got that cold and tart sauerkraut on top of a kind of bland meat tube inside a bun with mustard. It's everything I want to eat while yelling at people playing baseball.
I just like to echo what Richard in the chat said. Do either of these two know what food is? No hot dogs, no hamburgers, no watermelon. We're going Scotch egg and a brat. Classic, quintessential American summer picnic barbecue food. Remember, this time you are voting for the winner, not who's booting up. Who is going to win this week's Opinion Dominion? Is it going to be Dean with the Scotch egg or M with the heart disease causing German food from Cincinnati? Who is winning this round of Opinion Dominion? Please vote now. Oh, wow, this is close. This is close.
Did you want to shout out the usage of the term meat tube in the chat?
Excuse me?
It's a meat tube. It's tube made of meat. So I just wanted to highlight that.
We have 85% of the vote in, and it's 3 votes separate our competitors. Christina, what was your take for this? While we're waiting for the last couple of votes, what were you going to say?
I love potato salad.
Potato salad, that's good. Maynard, you want to share what you're going to say, because it's one of my absolute favorite foods?
Yeah, well, if anybody knows Beat by now, then they know I got sweet tooth. So mine would have been cornbread. Cornbread, by far the best summertime food. You never have a barbecue without cornbread. You go down south, you got your cornbread with your soul food. Cornbread goes great with anything. Cornbread. No jalapenos though. Don't put jalapenos in cornbread.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right. I'm ending this poll. Dean, you have prevailed as the champion with answers I did not see coming, nor did I think would win. Is this moment, how does this moment stack up to when you got your PhD?
PhD means nothing. It really doesn't in comparison. Scotch egg for the win.
Yeah. Thank you. Do you have any final words, before you go get some sauerkraut?
Once again, be gay, do art crimes.
Be gay, do art crimes. Okay. Thank you, Em. Thank you so much. All right, you guys, that was a great round of Opinion Dominion. We have a couple more amazing fossils to talk about. First and foremost, one that I had never heard of. I'm going to share this image, and Dean, let you tell us what the hell is going on here.
Okay, yeah, this is the specimen I was talking about at the beginning. So when I went out to America to the Wyoming Dinosaur Center in 2008, this is the specimen the very first day walking around the displays, and this is one I came across. It is what you're looking at there on the far right is a landing trace, and what a landing trace is where this particular specimen, I should set the scene, is it's about 150 million years old. It's from Germany, so drink. It's from Germany. It's from the famous location known as Eichstätt, which is part of the Solnhofen limestones, and it's one of these Lagerstätten. And on the far right there, it's what's the resting traces where this horseshoe crab has created this. It's fallen on its back. It's then wriggled around, righted itself, and then it's walked and created this 9.7 meter long trackway. And right at the end of this track is the horseshoe crab, a juvenile horseshoe crab called Mesolimulus walchi, which is just 12.7 centimeters long. This entire thing is what we call a morticnion, or in general terms, a death trace. It's the entire moment of this animal captured forever in time. It is totally awesome. And that's what gave me the inspiration for the book, Locked in Time.
So this is about, you said 9.7 meters? Is that what you said?
Yeah, 9.7 meters long, the entire trackway, measured from the beginning to the end.
So it's about 30 feet in America. Cool.
Yeah, about 30 feet in America, yeah.
I changed this too. Well, I put track, but you're right, it's a trace. Okay, this next one, the fossil itself is bonkers looking, and I had not heard about this. And I know that this particular animal, or this group of animals, fossilizes very poorly, or we don't find a lot of specimens because of their paper-thin bones. So can you tell us, well, whatever you need to tell us about this amazing pterosaur nesting ground?
Yeah, this is such an epic discovery. So we've known about pterosaurs now for more than, well, we've been studying pterosaurs for more than 2 centuries, and we've known very little about the early stages of pterosaur development. So from their eggs and sort of things like parental care. This discovery came along in 2006 in the Tian Shan Mountains in northwestern China, and thousands of pterosaur bones have been found here with more than 300 eggs. And many of these eggs, at least 40 or 50, have been found with embryos preserved inside. It's a super mind-blowing discovery, because not only is that cool in its own right, that you've got all this new information, but what you have preserved here is the direct evidence we have of pterosaur nesting. It is essentially a pterosaur nesting ground, and the environment in which the eggs and the bones are buried in indicate that these pterosaurs were probably living in a colony, and perhaps they nested along the shores of a lake or a river. And so this particular specimen informs us a lot about the direct evidence of behavior, which is what Locked in Time is all about, looking specifically at the direct evidence of preserved in fossils of actual behavior. And this is a really spectacular and special specimen.
So in this actual fossil right here, do we know what species of pterosaur, and B, is it a single species, or do we have multiple species?
Yeah. So this is, I should say, yeah. So this is only, it's a single species, a thing called Hemipterus tianshanensis. And the interpretation of the bones is that we actually think there's some quite a bit of difference in the skulls and the actual cranial crests of this pterosaur. So we think, again, not only have we got the eggs, the embryos, the nesting going on here, we actually think we've got some evidence for sexual dimorphism as well. So differences between the males and the females. So it really is such an epic discovery, which provides us with a whole load of interesting aspects of pterosaur behavior.
And this is paleoart rendering of that species, right?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, so that's based exactly on this fossil by the wonderful Bob Nichols and features in Locked in Time.
About how big of a pterosaur?
Hemipterus had a wingspan of about 3.5 meters, so that roughly equates to about the same wingspan of today's wandering albatross, which is the largest bird with a wingspan living today.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna go. I mean, not that that's a small animal, but we're gonna go from a relatively small animal to literally the largest animals that ever walked on the face of the earth, sauropods. And this is another fossil that I learned about from you that is pretty incredible, because it's not just a sauropod trackway, it's also death. I'm gonna let you explain this because I love this idea. We've learned so much about different animals through this one fossil.
Yeah, this is again another really cool fossil, and this we're staying in China for this as well. And as you say, sauropods are by far the largest terrestrial animals to have ever lived. Some reaching 30 meters in length and weighing as much as 70 tons. They're enormous. And this animal here, in the reconstruction by Bob, is a dinosaur called Mamenchisaurus, which was about. This individual is about 25 meters, about 30 tons. Now, if you imagine, the best way of looking at this is if you picture yourself, if you can, one day back in the late Jurassic, about 160 million years ago, this giant sauropod was walking along deep, soft mud where it was trampling through the mud. And as it trampled through the mud, its feet sunk right deep through to about a meter in depth. Now, as it lifted its feet out of this soft mud, water quickly filled in the holes, and it became like a watery, muddy, like sloppy substance in there. It looked from the outside, it would have looked quite a stable surface, but it actually wasn't. And we know it wasn't because when animals walked along the surface, they fell into it and then they struggled to get out. And we have preserved in all of these gigantic footprints numerous skeletons of many different fossils, including small dinosaurs. We have a herbivorous theropod called Lemusaurus, and probably the most amazing discovery out of these tracks, these death tracks, are early relatives of Tyrannosaurus rex, which is something we call Guanlong. Now, these dinosaurs not only were they preserved in these tracks, they are stacked on top of one another. So what it means is that if you imagine the depth of these things are about a meter deep and about, I think, 2 meters wide. So all these animals, when they fall into the bottom and sadly they've drowned, their skeletons have then broken up and fallen to the bottom, and then you've got other animals falling on top of them. And so it's kind of like layers in a cake. So you've got one dinosaur at the bottom, another in the middle, another at the top. And so you can learn, again, so much about behavior here. And then in this case, the sauropods, this was, I guess unknowingly, this sauropod was a deadly killer.
Quick question, because it's something we haven't touched upon today. Christina, you know why I brought you up. Is there evidence to suggest that because this is like very watery and muddy, that this could have potentially been right next to or adjacent or even part of a sex lake?
Yeah.
To bring it up
real fast, could you give us the sex lake talk per usual?
Yeah, there's no evidence to tell us that it wasn't. So yes, I see in the chat, people are like, I think I see a lake. Is that a lake? Yep. And in case you're new here, let me explain why the lake is so special to us. So one probably just horny paleontologist says that huge sauropods, the long neck boys, there's no way they could have made it or had sex with each other on land because they would have crushed each other's bones. So they would have had to do it in water. And the conjecture leads us to a special place called the sex lake that we came up with.
Dean, we're contractually obligated to bring up the sex lake every single Dino 101. But also, yeah, it really does. But also, bodies of water are a good segue to talk about our last, I guess it's not one fossil, it's certain species or group of animals that is your specialty. So I'm going to share our first screen here. I know this is the main animal that you have studied and you published the most about. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Definitely does.
Okay. Yeah, take it away with the Ichthyosaurus.
Yeah, so ichthyosaurs have become my specialism now, and that's where most of my academic research I guess, lies. And that's because on my return from Wyoming in 2008, I actually began volunteering at my local museum when I was 18, and I came across that specimen where at the time this ichthyosaur was thought to be a plaster copy, right? And this is where you're all going to be shocked. The museum didn't have a specialist curator, they didn't have a paleontologist, and they thought this was a plaster copy, so they used to let children draw on this.
Looking at
like do brass rubbings of the ribs and draw all over this skeleton. I identified that this was a real specimen, and this is where kind of my academic career then kind of just took off. So between the ribs of that specimen, they've got that dark mass. That's actually its last meal. Yeah, that's it. That's its last meal before it died, and it contains fish and squid. So that is obviously evidence of behaviors there. So that's really, really cool. But on top of that, over years and years and years of research, I determined that this was a new species to science, working with a colleague of mine, Professor Judy Messere, who I serendipitously met out in Wyoming in 2008. And Judy and I, we actually named this after Mary Anning, the amazing Mary Anning, early paleontologist from the UK. And it's the first ichthyosaur named after Mary, despite the fact that Mary was the first person to bring ichthyosaurs to the attention of science almost 200 years ago. And so, yeah, that's where I ended up going down in the roots of my academic career that I spent now. It must be, I think it's 12, 13 years now looking at ichthyosaurs. And this is what kind of brings me around to this next image, which Dustin's shown here, is that this is by far one of the coolest fossils that has ever been found. And it features in Locked in Time, of course, because it's ichthyosaurs. But what's going on in this is the ichthyosaur there is you've got right at the back, that is a little fetus. And preserved in between the ribs of this animal are 3 other baby ichthyosaurs to be. Now, the very tragic scenario of this, because it's a really dramatic specimen, all these, the baby ichthyosaurs that have been found inside the mothers to be are all sort of facing tail first. So, like modern dolphins and whales, when they give birth to their calves, they come out tail first to make sure they don't drown. In this case, when this little ichlet, which is what I like to call them, came out, sadly the head got stuck.
Time out.
Ichlet, that's what I like to call them.
Love it.
Coined the name ichlet.
Okay.
Not very scientific, but I'll try and get it into a paper at some point. And sadly, this one got stuck when it was being delivered. And so sadly, in this case, very tragically, all 5 individuals perished here. Now, it is very, very sad and many different reasons, but what it means is that it allows us to understand so much about the behavior of these animals. Because ichthyosaurs are marine reptiles, they are so adapted to life in the sea that for a long time, people have said they must have given birth to live young. But of course, as reptiles, the stereotypical scenario is that they would have come onto shore and laid eggs. So finding specimens like this kind of just hit the nail that 100% these animals gave birth to live young. And that is such a cool fossil.
Incredibly. Christina, I'm sure we have some questions in the chat for Dean about ichthyosaurs, about whatever we've talked about. I want to transition to those questions. So Christina, as you're figuring out what we're going to ask him, Dean, just a quick question for you. Can we talk about this badass haircut?
I was rocking that back then. That was taken, I think it was like 2012. That was back in the day. I think everybody rocked that haircut. I'm sure you did, right?
The bang swoop. I did that too. I did it too. All right, Christina, what do we got?
All right. So I think this is in reference to the Sex Lake one. How does that get preserved? Would there have to be some sort of catastrophic immediate event? What would cause it to get preserved?
Yeah, good, very, very good question there. So where this specimen was preserved is actually on the edge of a volcano. So the mud that it was preserved in has, there's a large ash content. And if you imagine sort of any trackways being preserved, right? So if a dinosaur leaves its footprint in mud, and it's got to be, baked by the sun or whatever, hardened, and then it's filled in, blah, blah, blah. It's the same principle, but with the addition of the volcanic ash, it added an extra component to this, which ended up preserving so much more detail, and which is why we had so many individuals preserved stacked on top of one another.
Amazing. And the volcanic ash means we could give a more accurate date to that, right?
That's correct. Yeah, yeah. And then I should say, and this one's about 125 million years old.
Incredible. That's blowing a lot of our minds. Another question, how common is it to find near perfect and complete ammonites in the UK? Are there any heteromorphs, or are they all just normal ammonites?
It is quite common, you know, to find. I actually have one right here. This is a specimen I collected at some point, only a couple of months ago, I think now, which is a really nice little specimen. And they're actually, depending on the locations you go to, my personal best locations are along the Yorkshire coast. I mean, I'm from Yorkshire, so I guess I have to say that. But it's along the Yorkshire coast, places like Whitby. And you can find them really quite, if you know what you're looking for and you look for the right shapes and sizes, then you can find them. And then in terms of the heteromorphs, then yeah, definitely you can find heteromorphs here as well. But they're in the Cretaceous sediments, like the chalks sites that you get over here.
How often do fossils of animals interacting with each other come up? Is it how rare is it? And when you were gathering things for this book, did you do it that way? Oh man, there are all these animals interacting, or was it something you went out and looked for?
That's a very good question. So first part of that is it actually is very, very rare for animals to be found in some way interacting. The rarest of all is where you have something in the book. I include other examples where I call sort of fossil food chains, where you've actually got one animal that's eaten another animal, that's eaten another animal, all preserved together in one. And so things like that, you imagine the chances of just a fossil preserving right is incredibly rare. So to have some sort of behavioral interaction makes it, you know, 10 times, 100 times much rarer. When I was going through to pick out specimens, I actually did go through the literature extensively. So I was going back to papers written from the early 1800s. And if you've seen the book already, or if you do pick up a copy, I guarantee that you'll find specimens in there that you'll never heard of, because I too was the same. There's specimens in there I'd never heard of. The clash of the mammoth specimen I'd heard of, but then seeing photos of the original and then reading about the discovery just blew my mind.
Our minds are blown too. Okay, we have two more for you. How many fossils are within arm's reach of you right now?
I would probably go with at least about 100. No word of a lie. There's a cabinet full of fossils right here.
Oh wow.
That yep. No. Can you prove to us that it is within arm's reach? Oh wow, it's right there.
Yeah.
There.
There's loads of fossils here, and then I've got like an attic full of them too. I think the ceiling might fall down.
Careful out there. It belongs in a museum. Okay. One more for you. Are you gonna do our Smeagol impression for us, or?
You got it. Okay. Let me have a glass of water here for this. I've built this up, haven't I? Okay. Get into character.
The stupid fat hobbit, he steals it from me. He steals the precious, but we'll get it back. He steals it from me.
That was very good.
Wow.
I spent too much time in school perfecting that.
That was better than I was expecting. That was great.
I feel I could actually give the real Smeagol a good run for the money.
You have a career should this whole paleontology thing not work out. All right, it is just about time for our gallery. So if you have rendered your Sarcosaurus at an iconic travel destination, please hold that up. Dean, we're going to go around there. I'm going to share these images on our screen here. Feel free to comment. They are usually tremendous. I don't see why tonight is going to be any different. We are going to start with Barry here. Oh, at the pyramids. I like it. Okay.
Very good.
Oh, with a classic souvenir hat.
Yeah, I like the hat. That's good. That's real good. All right. We're going to Paul and Meg now. Well done, Barry.
Oh, with the Leaning Tour.
Leaning Tour.
And on a Hollywood tour. On the Walk of Fame. Good job, Paul and Meg.
I like this. We're going next to our favorite shark scientist who had her second shot today, who's not feeling so hot, but her art still looks great.
Sal the Sarcosaurus. Dino of the day. I think that's supposed to be you, Dustin.
Is that me? Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
And
Oh,
your
it's because of the short shorts? Is that why? Okay, thank you. The
and
cutoff
your Sue sports tank top.
and the sports. All right. All right. Katie Stomps. Oh, another tour.
That's a good looking tour.
I did not foresee people putting these at the famous tours we named, but I guess it makes sense. It makes perfect
They're
sense.
iconic tours.
Every time you say it, Christina, I laugh. All right, Michael Pajaro. That's not how you say it.
That Haro. Oh.
What's it, Disney? That mouse is about to get tore the fuck up.
And it's enormous.
It is, well, it's human size. What do you, that's something for scale. That's wait, Dean, that's a fairly accurately scaled Sarcosaurus, right?
I agree completely. It is.
Okay.
Oh, well, I was mistaken. Well, it is a big mouse.
That's true. That's true. Ryan, this is beautiful at the Golden Gate Bridge. Love this.
Nice.
Oh, what's in his hand? Is he taking a selfie?
I think that might be a phone. I also like to see that those hands, the palms are facing in towards each other. Remember, clappers, not slappers. Well done, sir. Awesome. This will be on your final exam, May 28th. We're going to Tierney now. Ooh, a Stonehenge.
Oh, I would say a circular collection of tours.
Okay.
Oh, the Sarco is so aghast.
I like that we're traveling across the world via these pieces of art all the way. We're going to the opposite corner now. I assume this is definitely Sydney, Australia.
With the little hat.
I feel like you made it just slightly larger than it actually was, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
It's art. Oh yeah, attached to the bridge for safety.
Oh yeah, safety first, kids. Safety first. Vanessa. Oh, I like this. What? Okay.
Patago Titan. You know I love a Patago Titan.
I like the colors here. I like that you guys look like you're having fun together too.
Oh my gosh.
All right, we're going now to Tony. Oh, in Vegas. Just take it.
Oh, that is fabulous.
This is a good reminder. You guys, please upload these, put these on Twitter, put them on Insta, tag myself, Christina, and Dean. I would love to reshare these. These are great.
I'm about to drop the handles.
Drop the handles. Let's go. All right. We are now, at the Louvre. We have not been, the Louvre. Hey, you guys want to know my fun fact about the Louvre as a museum specialist? It's there's a Starbucks in the Louvre. That's a true story. There's a Starbucks inside the Louvre because Americans and apparently the French can't have nice things either. Hey, Dean, you ready to be blown away?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go.
Oh, wow.
Oh, another Parisian. I like this. This looks delicious.
I'd rather watch that than Emily in Paris.
Fair. I like this a lot.
So awesome.
Please, you need to send us some of these to taste one day. Just one day, maybe on our last episode. All right, Luke, let's go Raptors. Okay, all right.
Go to Jurassic Park, Toronto.
In Toronto.
Parentheses, Toronto.
I'm not exactly sure what's happening with this next one, but I'm excited to find out.
Oh, Ruby Cower. Sarcosaurus. You can be
an iconic destination on your own.
Oh. And we have a dino shaped. Are these macarons? Christine, well done.
That's cool.
That looks delicious.
Lovely.
Is this an Inca situation, Alejandra? Where are we here? Can you zoom it, move it a little bit closer to the screen?
Yes.
Nice.
I
love the shirt.
Yeah, the shirt, that really pops. Really pops.
He's lovely.
Wait, is that the Bronwyn Hopton from Worthington, Ohio? Oh my God. Hi. Hi. Okay.
Guatemala.
We'll talk in the after party. Christina, you're going to tell us about the after party in a little bit. We got a couple more. Oh, this one's beautiful, Brian. I love this.
You know how I feel about that tour.
It's a good tour. It's a good tour. We also have a post-it notes. Wow, this is so good, Brian. We have post-it note specials per usual. All right, first in London, Tower of London. This one's good.
Nice.
I think
I represent.
Yeah.
Is that Big Ben? Yes.
You know, we're gonna send you one of those pads of giant post-it notes, you know, like it's the size of a window, just to up the game a little. I love the tiny ones though. Those are fun. All right, here we go to John and Mitchell. John and Michelle. Oh, wow.
Oh, I love the sunglasses and the camera.
The camera with the necklace is good. It's good. Here for that.
It's hot. Sun protection, Dino.
I think that may have been our last Paleart image. If you have not shared it and you have it, please hold it up now or forever hold your peace. I believe that is our last one. I'm going to bring myself back. I'm going to try to find you guys as well. I always lose Christina, and there you are. Hi, Christina.
Hi.
Oh, wait, Em, I'm sorry. Hold on. We're going to add you. 1 second. Em, this is a first as well. You put a Sarcosaurus on your nail.
Oh, nice.
Can you get really close? Because you brought up the fact that we only know this thing from its booty. There's some fragmentary parts of vertebrae, but it's mostly the hips, right? So the Bootysaurus, Sarcosaurus, the flesh lizard on your nail. Like it. Here for it. All right, there's Dean.
Lizard.
Oh, I lost Dean again. Where'd you go? There he is. All right, we are almost out of time. Dean, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to bring up the name and the picture of your book one more time. I'm incredibly excited to read this. I know we have some people that are already reading it. If you have not copped your copy of Locked in Time, do so right now. Is there anything you want to add to that book pitch, Dean, or do you have any final parting words before we head to the after party?
Yeah. Thanks a lot for inviting me on. For first of all, I honestly had a blast, and it's a shame I've not been on Dino 101 before. Of course, the time difference is a bit of a pain. It's 3:07 here, so I'm gonna go to bed soon. I'm gonna be filled now with dinosaurs in my mind and all these images of Sarcosaurus. But no, honestly, thanks a lot. And with Locked in Time, if you're interested in learning about the world's best fossils that we can understand, sort of direct evidence of behavior preserved in these fossils, then literally it's a unique book. It's a unique book dedicated entirely to understanding behavior from prehistoric animals. And the main thing, what I guess I want to get out of this book for other people to hopefully begin to sort of understand, is that hope that it allows you to look at dinosaurs and prehistoric animals in an entirely different light, shine a new light on these things and see them more than just sort of inanimate objects and museum display specimens, and hopefully see them that they're as real as you and me.
Dude, thank you for being here. I'm very excited to read the book because you're absolutely right. It's not just like, this is what we found, this is what the animal looked like. It's like a life snapshot of actual behavior, and it brings them to life in a way that just like a fossil in a museum can't. So thank you again, Dean, for being here. Thank you for being here until 3:08 your time. Go to sleep, sir. You don't have to come to the after party, but if you want to, it is mandatory. It's not mandatory. It's totally not mandatory. Christina, before we go to the after party, do you have any final words?
Thank you, Dr. Dean Lomax, for joining us at 3:00, coming on 9 your time. I think dinos, we talk about all the time, is this gateway drug to science, and being able to imagine them living, breathing, fighting, horny, is what got us into this in the first place. So hell yeah, here we all are on a Friday night doing dinos together. It's a beautiful thing.
One more month. Absolutely. Christina, thank you. Remember, you guys, next week, Shayna Montanari, returning champion, another actual paleontologist who, in her own words, has scoured the globe in search of the dopest fossils. It's a quote from her, is going to talk to us, and we're going to discuss our favorite DILFs, which are dinosaurs I'd like to find. What could we speculate is still out there? What kind of weird looking sauropods or ankylosaurs are even possible to be found? So that's next week, DILFs with Shayna Montanari. Remember, the after party is absolutely not mandatory unless you read the chat. Apparently, you're legally and morally obligated. But I'm going to tell you it's not mandatory. If you want to come to the after party, which starts as soon as I stop talking, the link is the same as it's been. If you do not have the link, slide into my DMs on Twitter or Instagram. I will send you that link. But for now, I don't care if you're searching for dinosaurs, asking questions, or rooting around your house trying to find that passport that's been gathering dust for who knows how long. Never stop digging. I love all of you guys, but not as much as dinosaurs. We will see you in the totally not legally or morally obligated after party. Bye, everybody.
Take care, everybody. Great to chat. Bye-bye.
Bye, Dean. Thank you. Bye, Christina. Thank you.
No
Bye, Maynard. Thank you. Bye, Em. Thank you. Bye, everyone else who I have not said. See you in the after party. Bye.
Bye.